Hello guys, welcome back. My name's Nathan and today we're going to be grading every single NHL team's offseason so far. Now this setup is a little bit different. I'm at a family house right now and it's a different setup, so if the audio is as well a little bit less or so than usual, I'm trying my best here, but it is pretty makeshift. Hopefully you will still enjoy though, but I wanted to get this video out because this one I've been working on for a little bit, and we are now pretty much like a week into the off season or a week into free agency. We've already seen a lot of trades, a lot of signings, so I thought we'd go through every single team and see which was the best moves, the worst moves, and grade them so far this offseason. So, who do I think had the best, the worst offseason so far in the NHL, and what grades do I give your favorite team this offseason? Watch till the end for all my rankings, all my grades, and of course hit that big red subscribe button for more videos just like this one. Now there's somebody freaking mowing out there, but I'm gonna still do my best here today. We're gonna start out with the Anaheim Ducks, and my grade for them is a B+. Now, they got the Kevin Shattenkirk signing. They also got Eric Branson. They ended up sending him to the Ottawa Senators for a 5th round pick, which all things considered is pretty solid for Anaheim. And I like what the Ducks have been doing so far. I mean, their draft was also very excellent. I thought made some good choices, especially Perreault in the late 20s. So far, so good for the Ducks. Nothing too absolutely major, but you get Kevin Shattenkirk on that defense. That makes it a lot better. Then going on to the Arizona Coyotes, I'm going to give them the F. And I think Arizona's made some decent depth signing, as I do like the Ekman-Larsson signing for them quite a bit, and Pitlick as well will be solid for them. But in terms of who has lost the offseason the most, I think it's Arizona. They had the John Chayka situation where they had to give up their 1st round pick or whatever it was, a lot of draft picks, and then they had nothing until the 4th round in the 2020 draft, which led them to be one of the lesser so teams in that draft too. They were going to trade OEL. That trade never happened, so they don't get anything for him, and also there's a bunch of signing bonuses coming up which they can barely afford, so I'm not even sure what's going to happen there. But they haven't traded Darcy Kemper, they really haven't traded anybody, and they're still left with all these guys that they were planning to trade originally. Due to this offseason being kind of crazy, that hasn't happened. Of course, also letting Taylor Hall go, not the greatest, so they'll get an F in my books. Just a failure of an offseason so far for them. Then going on to the Boston Bruins, I'm giving them a C+. They got Craig Smith, which I thought was an excellent signing and great value as well. Super underrated winger, and I think can do a lot of damage on that middle 6. Then you also have letting Krug go, which at the rate he was signing in St. Louis, I don't know if it was the worst thing in the world. He did get 7 years, which can be pretty risky for the team like the Blues, but I think for the Bruins overall it wasn't too bad. I think yes, it kind of hurts to lose Torrey Krug, but Craig Smith is an excellent signing. They didn't really do too much in the 2020 draft, but I don't think that'll affect them too much. Then going on to the Buffalo Sabres, I'm giving them an A-. Now obviously the big thing was Taylor Hall, and they made a couple other signings. They extended guys like Brandon Montour, but Taylor Hall is the big one. And honestly, for the Buffalo Sabres to get a guy like Taylor Hall, even for 1 year at $8 million, that's a miracle for a team like that, especially in the state that they're in. So I do like that signing a lot for them. Makes their forward group a lot more dangerous. And if they can add a goalie or two, maybe a defenseman as well, that team could be a lot more ready next season. And I'm definitely rooting for them to make the playoffs personally. Then going on to the Calgary Flames, I'm giving them a B+. At the moment, they of course had the big signings of Jacob Markstrom and Chris Tanev, and both of those guys I would say were overpayments, but they do help that team a lot, especially for the now, especially Jacob Markstrom, which I think could be the elite goaltender that they've been looking for a very long time, since Kipper Saad, really, to be honest. And I feel like if Markstrom can continue the consistency he had in Vancouver, then Calgary's looking like a pretty good team next season, especially if they can stay consistent. So I like what they've done so far, and it's looking pretty good at the moment. Then going on to the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm giving them an A-. Now they got Jesper Fast, which was one of the bigger signings they had. I would give them a higher grade if they were going to get out and get a starter goaltender, but they still have Mrazek and Reimer as their tandem right now, which I'm not too sure about. But I think one of the main reasons why they are with an A- is because of the elite draft they had. Arguably maybe the best draft of any NHL team, and they just rolled on draft night. So that's a big reason why their grade is so so high, but I do like that Jesper Foss signing a lot. Great value too. And I think the Canes will also make some more moves coming up in the future. Then going on the Chicago Blackhawks, they've had an interesting offseason to say the least. I'm going to give them a C. They got the Kubalik extension. They signed Janmark. That Zadorov trade, though, is just a yikes in my book. I'm really not sure what Bowman is doing, because if he's trying to rebuild, I don't know why you're getting Zadorov. Even though he's a solid young defenseman, I don't think he's going to be anything amazing, and he is more on the older side in terms of younger players. So I'm not sure really what Chicago's trying to go for. They also let go Corey Crawford, which obviously they would have liked to keep. I'm not really sure what's going on there, Bowman, but I don't usually know what's going on with Chicago, so it's not too surprising. Then going on to the Colorado Avalanche, I give them an A+. To me, the Colorado Avalanche have absolutely smashed out of the park so far this offseason. They had the Devon Taves trade, which I think adds a lot to their top 4. The Saad trade, which adds a lot to their top 6. They re-signed Nichushkin, Burakovsky, 2 good deals. So I think Colorado's looking very good right now. And they had the potential to go after some big guys. That cap space has mostly been used in the trades, though, and I like that. They also had a pretty decent 2020 draft, too, even though they didn't really have too much to work with. So I think overall, Colorado did a very good job, and Joe Sakic continuing his masterful work. Then going on to the Columbus Blue Jackets, I'm going to give them an A-. They have the Max Domi trade, which I think for them especially is a huge win. But you also have the signing of Mikko Koivu, which I like a lot for Columbus, and really for any NHL team. I think Mikko Koivu provides some amazing defensive value, some amazing leadership. I mean, Minnesota fans can say that as well. I think he's going to be good on Columbus, but obviously the main thing was the Domi trade. I think they definitely smashed that too. Then going on to the Dallas Stars, my favorite team, with a B+. To me, the big one was the Anton Hudobin signing. Being able to get him back for 2 more years is huge. They also re-signed Foxa, and they ended up getting Mark Pysyk as well. Hopefully, we'll see Rupe and Gurianov both re-signed, but re-signing Hudobin is a big win. Next up, going to Steve Yzerman's throne in the Detroit Red Wings, and I'm giving them an A. Honestly, I've loved what Detroit has done so far. They had the Bobby Ryan signing, Thomas Greiss, Troy Stetcher, and Mestikov signings. They also had a pretty fantastic 2020 draft headlined by Lucas Raymond. So even though Detroit, it doesn't need to be a contender, especially guys like Troy Stetcher and Nemestikov. I love those signings for Detroit, and I think that will help them also in the future when those guys continue to re-sign. Then going on to Edmonton, I'm going to give them an A-. I like what the Oilers have done so far. Obviously, the Tyson Barrie contract, it's a risk, but not too much since it is a 1-year deal, so I do like that, especially for their power play, with guys like Klefbom also injured potentially, but they also, the tourist signing, they brought back Puljujarvi, they brought back Tyler Ennis. The one thing that I think puts them back for maybe an A is the Mike Smith signing. I don't know why the heck they're re-signing him for $2 million as well, but hey, Edmonton, I guess, has to have one bad signing in there, right? Then going on to the Florida Panthers, I'm going to give the Panthers an A-. Now, I think they started off amazingly. Sadly, it doesn't look like they'll be able to re-sign or bring back Evgeny Dadonov now he's with the Sens, and maybe also Hoffman might be gone. But in just of what they've added, I do like the Wenberg signing a lot. Hinostroza, they also did pretty well, I think, in the Nudavara trade as well. So, especially also with that 2020 draft too, that's why they're pretty high with an A-. I've liked what Bill Zito's done so far. I think he's done pretty decent. Then going on to the LA Kings, they really haven't done too much besides their 2020 draft, which was excellent. But they did get the Ali Mata trade, which I think is a pretty good value deal for them. I'm going to give them a B+ right now. Not too bad, not elite, but I think they have done a decent job so far. Then going on to Minnesota, and honestly, it's the same thing. They've pretty much made the same amount of moves, but an amazing draft for them puts their prospect pool among the best. And you also have the Cam Talbot signing, which if he can replicate his second half with Calgary now in Minnesota, then I think the Wild are looking a lot better. Then going on to Montreal, and this was the most polarizing thing for me, because you could say they smashed out of the park, but you could also say they did a terrible job. To me, I kind of meet in the middle. I'm going to give them a B+. There were some excellent moves, I think, made by Martin Bergevin, but also some questionable ones. I think the biggest questionable one was the Edmondson trade and signing. I really don't like either of those deals. Edmondson, if he replicates what he was like in Carolina last year, then it's going to be rough for Montreal. But I do like the Allen trade a lot. I love that Gallagher extension for Montreal, the Toffoli signing as well. The Max Domi trade, we'll see what happens, but I do think Josh Anderson does provide a lot of value for them, so it's not too bad, but we'll have to wait and see with Montreal, especially because those are a lot of deals that could either go wayside or look very good for them. Then going on to the Nashville Predators, I'm going to give them a C-. They did add Cousins, Berwecki, and also Benning as well, but they did let they did let Craig Smith go, also Granlund, and those are two pretty big forwards for them, especially Smith, who's been a big part of that franchise. I don't know if they're definitely not looking better on paper going into next season. So I'm not sure what Nashville's really planning for there. Maybe they make a big move this offseason, but so far they've definitely downgraded. I think we can all agree on that. Then going on to the New Jersey Devils, honestly, I'm giving them an A-. I really like what Fitzgerald has done so far. They obviously got the Crawford signing, which is huge for them, but they also got Ryan Murray, who I think, if healthy, can be a big add on the defense. And also some of the trades, I mean, again, the Murray trade, but you also got Andreas Janssen, who I think is a pretty underrated forward when healthy, and also a pretty solid draft on top of that. So I like what New Jersey's done, and I think an A- is definitely reasonable for them, at least right now. Now going on to the New York Islanders, and I mean, they really kind of put themselves in the situation, Lou Lamoriello, but D-. The Islanders really did not have a good draft. Again, they didn't have any picks until the 4th round. They didn't have any cap space. Matthew Barzal still is not signed. They had to trade away Devon Toews in a terrible deal for them. There's really nothing. I mean, the Islanders have gotten worse. They still are in a cap crunch. They still have to sign Matthew Barzal, so I can't really give them any pointers right now. Then going on to the New York Rangers, and this is another polarizing one for me because you have the 2020 draft, which was solid. You got Alexi Lafreniere. But in terms of free agent moves purely, I don't know what the heck the Rangers are doing. Why the heck are you signing Jack Johnson? He is way past the point of, oh, he might be good if we give him a chance. He's not going to be good. Even on your bottom pairing, that's not what you want on your team, but I digress. They also re-signed D'Angelo and Georgiev, two very solid deals, especially the D'Angelo one, where I thought he definitely could have gotten a lot more if he waited a little more, but I do like they're sending a lot for the Rangers there, so overall, not too bad. I still would like for them to add some more pieces, but I can't really complain too much. Then going on to the Ottawa Senators, I'm giving them a B+. Honestly, I've liked what the Sens have done. That Matt Murray trade was pretty solid. His signing is a little bit too much, but the Sens don't really have too much of a problem cap hit-wise. They do have a problem money-wise, but cap hit-wise, it's not much of a problem, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But you also got the Dadonov signing, which I love a lot for them. The Brown trade as well, adding to that defense. And a solid draft as well on top of that, getting Stützle and Jake Sanderson. So I think overall for the Sens, very solid offseason. They're not a playoff team, but they've added some pretty fun pieces. Then going on to the Philadelphia Flyers, they really haven't done anything besides Eric Gustafsson. They had a pretty solid draft, I think, especially in the later rounds of guys like Zade Wisdom, but it wasn't anything amazing. And, of course, you got the Eric Gustafsson deal, which he's basically like a Shane Gostisbehere. I don't know why Flyers are doing that, but they do have still a pretty decent amount of cap space. I thought they were going to do something bigger, maybe a Patrick Laine trade, but it seems like that's off the table. So right now, I'm giving them a straight C. Then going on to the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're Pennsylvania brothers. I'm giving Pittsburgh a D+. They got the Jari extension, which I think was very solid for them. They traded Murray in the deal, I think. They also have the Hornquist trade, which I don't know about Mike Matheson. And they also have the Kapanen trade, which they gave up the 15th overall pick. That ended up being Rodion Amirov. I mean, that prospect pool would be so much better if they had Rodion Amirov on that group. So I think for Pittsburgh, it's been all right, but anything more than that, I can't really argue. Then going on to the San Jose Sharks, I'm giving them a C+. They re-signed Nozin, Marleau, LeBanc, but they ended up trading for Devin Dubnyk, which I don't know why. He was on one of the best defenses over the past couple seasons, and it was still one of the league's worst starters. So unless something really changes, I'm not sure about that. But San Jose's offseason also kind of gets salvaged a little bit by the amazing draft they had. They killed it this past draft, especially forwards, so I like that quite a bit for them. Then going on to St. Louis, I'm giving them a B-. They obviously acquired Torrey Krug. They have the Allen trade, but Torrey Krug's the big one. I mean, I don't think it's too egregious of a contract either. Obviously, the term is a little bit of a problem at 7 years, but I think when they have the cap space with Alex Pietrangelo gone, I don't think it's much of a problem, and he'll obviously be an amazing power play quarterback for them. Then going on to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I must say, if you didn't see my Instagram post, my Tampa Bay Lightning jersey has finally come. Blake Coleman on the back. This is freaking amazing. But for Tampa, who cares? They won the cup. And that is all I'm going to say. Now, going on to the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm giving them an A-. Honestly, I've liked a lot of the moves that Toronto has done. I think the big one is TJ Brodie. That adds a lot to their defense. And especially if you were to play with Morgan Riley, that would be the perfect pairing to have for Toronto. But also the depth signings they made, Simmons, Bogosian, VC, some guys that really do add some more grittier play to that forward group. And I like to see that, especially on that bottom six. But you have the Janssen captain trades as well. But I think why Toronto, another reason why they are this high and at A- is because of the amazing draft they had. Honestly, they were top 10 at the very least in terms of value at their picks. So I like a lot of what Toronto's done, especially that TJ Brodie signing, which I think is very, very solid for them. Then going on to Vancouver, this was another one hard to pinpoint because I think they were wise to not sign Chris Tanev to that deal. I think they were wise to not sign Markstrom to that deal, but it still kind of hurts to have those guys leave, and especially Tyler Toffoli. I mean, I think the Tanev and the Markstrom deals were kind of overpayments, but the Toffoli deal, definitely not. That was perfectly reasonable, and Vancouver still did not go for it. But they ended up getting Braden Holtby, they got the Nate Schmidt trade. I like those two deals for them for sure, but it's kind of, they're kind of screwed if they don't, screwed if they do. So, I don't know. I'm giving them a B right now, so still pretty solid. Then going on to Vegas, I'm giving them a B-. They got the Leonard extension, they had the Alex Pietrangelo contract. The one that kind of hurts, at least from what we know right now, is the Paul Stastny trade. I wasn't opposed to trading Stastny, but they don't have anybody else to fill that second line center role unless they have Chandler Stevenson there, which, all right. Unless they make another big move, I'm not really sure what Vegas is trying to do right there, but we'll see what happens. Then going on to the Washington Capitals, I'm giving them a straight B. They got Henrik Lundqvist, Justin Schultz, Dylan, and Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Now, the Schultz deal a little bit too much for me. Same thing with the Brendan Dillon deal, but I do like the Lundqvist deal a lot for them. The TVR contract is pretty solid value, but even though the Schultz and Dillon contract might be a little bit too much for me, those are still pretty solid players to add, especially if Schultz can rebound and stay healthy. He'd be pretty solid in Washington. Then going on to the last team in the Winnipeg Jets, they got the DeMello extension, which was pretty big, but I think DeMello definitely deserved it. Love to see him get paid. And then the Stastny trade, which I think will help them a lot. But the biggest thing is that they have not traded Patrick Laine yet, which is an absolute W. Thanks so much for being patient, Chevy. Appreciate that. Don't freaking trade him. Please. My goodness. I'm happy, though, that it hasn't happened yet. So right now, gonna give Winnipeg that straight B. So, that is it for all the grades today. If you guys did enjoy, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell as well if you are new. Make sure you comment down below, what do you agree and disagree with my grades, and what is your grade for your favorite NHL team this offseason thus far. Make sure you share this video with your friends, get it out there, and click on this card as well for all of my ranking videos right in one playlist. But yeah, I'm probably only going to be in this place for maybe 1 or 2 more days, so not a permanent setup, but I'm trying my best. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that, though. I've been having some fun doing these grades and doing these rankings, so hopefully you guys did enjoy. But thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. My name's Nathan. Let's go Blake Coleman. Goodbye.